Welcome to ProjectME, the podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Carter, the founder of ProjectME, multimillionaire entrepreneur, former TV newscaster, money-making expert, female empowerment speaker, and self-proclaimed office supply addict. My mission is to take the mystery out of making big money. Every week on ProjectME, the podcast, I'll share success tips, strategies, and stories from other entrepreneurs, experts, and millionaires, showing you exactly how you can achieve your most exceptional life. Now let's get to it. Exciting announcement for all of my listeners. I've officially opened my exclusive group, the ProjectME Passive Income Posse, to the public. This group is by application only, so we can keep the group high vibe and spend our time, energy, and expertise only helping those of you who truly want massive success and impact. You get live weekly trainings from me, special guest coaches, and direct access to me and my business partner for all of your questions. To learn more and apply, go to projectmewithtiffany.com, click on Work With Me, and select ProjectME Posse. And of course, any questions, feel free to DM me at ProjectME with Tiffany. Welcome to ProjectME with Tiffany Carter, the podcast and posse. I'm your host, Tiffany, and today I had zero desire to record this episode for you guys. But then I looked at the title and I saw it is Learn How to Think and Operate Like a Millionaire. And I went, well, isn't that interesting? I can use my exact current mental state as a perfect example of how I end up doing things regardless of how I'm feeling and do it from a place of service and abundance versus what I would have done years ago prior to doing all of this money mindset, abundance mindset work, which would have yielded in no results. And I know a lot of you listening have this pattern where it's the all or nothing pattern. So when you're feeling good, you're like, I'm going to be on the cover of Forbes someday. And you're like, I'm going to be on the leaderboard of my network marketing company, or you've set some lofty goal, which I'm all about lofty goals, but you set some goal of, I'm going to sell, $10 million in real estate this year, whatever it is. You are in that, top of the world zone, and then you end up getting quite a bit done. You're productive, and then something happens. It could be hormonally, and that goes for men and women. Yes, men, you guys have hormones too. In fact, you have the same exact hormones as women. We just have different amounts. Anyway, it could be that you're someone who struggles with mental health. And maybe you don't struggle all the time. You're like me, who's managed depression and anxiety for many years. But when you're actually diagnosed, like I'm diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder. I have both diagnoses. I am medicated. So there's no shame in medicating when that is what you need and you have a true chemical imbalance. So just saying, I used to have a lot of shame around it. And then I tried to quit twice, one without doctor supervision. Do not do that. And one with, and both did not end well. Just saying. That's a whole nother episode. But when you have, whether it's PTSD, you have trauma from a prior relationship, you're a highly sensitive person, we're human beings, right? We end up having actual human emotions and a range of emotions, and not every day is going to be, Bali and butterflies. And we start thinking it's supposed to be if we're happy and successful people and we're doing what we love and we're, going after our dreams and we're healthy and we can pay our bills. There's a lot of shame around not feeling great all the time. And you're not going to feel great all the time. You're a human being. In fact, look at animals. Animals don't feel great all the time. Those of you who have dogs, cats, other species in your home, they don't feel good all the time. They have moods too. So what I do to do things regardless, because that's the trick. This pattern most of you are in is you only get all the things done when you're motivated, when you're high vibe, when you're energized, you're feeling confident, all those things. And that's great. I get a lot done when I feel like that too. But then when you're in a bad way, low vibe, tired, exhausted, fatigued, cranky, frustrated, grieving, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, all those things, then you take your foot off the gas and nothing gets done, or almost nothing gets done. And you spend, the whole day scrolling or barely getting through the day. And now you don't have any consistency. And that's the problem of why your business and why your business, both in your personal goals as well, are not being reached, is because of the consistency. So I show up regardless. Like I said, I have zero desire to record this. I don't feel like I have that much energy today. But when I saw the title, I went, perfect. I can use what I'm currently feeling as an example. And when you think and operate like a millionaire, you fucking show up regardless. You show up because you have a commitment. And it's not just a commitment to myself. It's a commitment to my community, to all of you. You guys get 2 brand new, fresh podcast episodes that are of high value every single week. I have never missed an episode in almost 2 years, you guys. Never have missed. So that is my commitment. And people who operate and think like millionaires, they don't go back on their commitments. They figure out a way to make sure something happens regardless. And yeah, your brain, some of you have that, that victim-y brain, that your scared ego, that scarcity mindset will play tricks on you and convince you that, oh, I'm too low vibe, or I'm sick and I don't feel good and therefore I can't show up. It's very self-serving and very self-involved. You've got to get yourself out of your own way, even if it's temporarily, right? I'm not going to be at my most productive state today, my mood I'm in. I know that, but I am going to follow through on my commitments. That doesn't mean I all of a sudden am jumping for joy and have a desire to, but I'm going to be of integrity and follow through. So the first thing I want to say is this. Make sure you have something that holds you accountable. It's your passion for the people you're serving. So that gets you out of self, right? When we're of service, we're out of self. So something much bigger. Maybe it's the money that you make or you're going to make that's going to go to your charities. You guys know I'm a big supporter of building safe houses for sex trafficked women and children. So imagine if I just kept, showed up only when I felt good. Well, that'd be a fuck lot less money that could go to those charities, right? A lot less money that you could tithe for their church, a lot less money that you could put towards, college funds or family trips, or you getting massages, whatever it is. Are you putting it towards more to build more passive income streams and grow those so you have true freedom, financial freedom like I've created for myself? So you have to look at something bigger than yourself. As humans, we're very self-involved and self-absorbed if we allow ourselves to stay in that small victim-y mindset. And it can be a very familiar place depending on how you grew up. You may have grown up with a parent that operated like that, or both parents, or a caregiver, or you were overly enabled. You were given everything. Things were handed to you. You didn't really have to work that hard for stuff. So now when things get hard or uncomfortable, you want to bail out because you've not strengthened that muscle. So the first thing is I want you to list what you're accountable for, right? Like every single week I give in, and it shows up on Facebook as well, but primarily IGTV. Every single Thursday, you guys get a legit video from me, like a high value training video that, someone would pay for, right? And I do that every week. I've not missed a week of that either. And I've had some crazy ass shit happen and I've still not missed. Now, I also do things to help myself not miss. Like I will batch some content, but lately I've not been batching, and I still make sure I show up for the bigger cause, the bigger vision, and for all of you. So you got to get out of yourself. I'm sure you weren't expecting to hear that off the bat of this episode. I'm sure some of you were expecting to hear, I know you weren't expecting to, at least I hope not, some like fluffy shit from me. Like, in order for you to be a millionaire, you have to tell yourself you're a millionaire and envision yourself as a millionaire. You're not going to get that from me. You're going to get the practical, real stuff that I know works in coaching privately more than 1,500 people and tens of thousands of people in group settings, and using all of these things that I practice on myself for many, many, many years. So I know what works, but there's still a range, right? What works for me? Exactly. Like if you followed it to a T, if it doesn't feel good to you, I don't mean if it feels uncomfortable, because new things are going to feel uncomfortable. But if it doesn't feel good and there's such a strong resistance to it, then you've got to massage it and custom tailor it to yourself, because anything that is met with that big of a resistance won't work. Okay. But we'll get into that a little bit later. So here is what really, really started my journey on shifting from having a poverty mindset, you can call it a limiting mindset, a scarcity mindset, into a millionaire mindset. A lot of people assume that it's very hard to overcome having, a scarcity mindset, if you grew up poor, and people who grew up with money have it easy. I grew up in the second wealthiest family in an already wealthy neighborhood, 2 full blown out chef level style gourmet kitchens. Okay. This was a big motherfucking house, an Olympic size pool in the backyard. And I was an only child. All right. And if you want to know more of my story, just go back to other episodes. What was seen on the outside was not what was happening on the inside. There was the house of horrors on the inside. I would have rather grown up poor. I'll put it to you like that. So what I associated with money was danger. I did not associate freedom with money. I did notice that money bought really nice things, nice clothes, dance lessons, a beautiful house, a pool, camp, shit like that. I did notice that. So I noticed the things. But things are really not that important. It's really what our emotions tie to it. So I tied money and abundance to danger, to bad things happening, and to evil people coming and taking from you. So just wanted to dispel that belief there, or any bullshit your brain's telling you, like, well, I grew up poor, so, it's going to be really hard for me to overcome this, or whatever kind of thing you have going on in your brain. It's just not true. It doesn't matter. I know people who associate money with death, because anyone they knew that had a lot of money died young. I mean, I work with a lot of people on this stuff. I know people to work with clients where money equaled power, and people misused that power and really hurt other people, or lied and got in trouble for it, or even ended up in jail. So there's a lot of different things that can come up with people around money. So I had a scarcity mindset. So when I started to learn about all of this stuff, and I've been practicing this for quite some time now, almost like 15 years. I had to shift those predominant thoughts I have. So we all have like a couple loops that we run. We have our go-to thoughts. We have our stories that we've said long enough that they've become our stories, and now we believe them. So one of my big ones, I'm just using me as an example, was, in order to be successful, you have to like really sacrifice yourself. You have to work your ass off. You have to damn near kill yourself. That was really a story I had. And I was willing to work my ass off to exhaustion, almost death, in order to have success, because I wanted nice things. I didn't want to depend on anyone for money. But that's very much a scarcity mindset and a fear-based mindset towards money. So on the outside, it look like, right? Well, Tiffany is successful. She's winning awards. She's making money. But let me tell you, it was miserable. There was no joy. There was no ease and flow in it. And that's still a scarcity mindset. So you might be making money. You might be making 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, but you're in like a self-imposed prison, whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur. And that is a sign that we've got to shift some stuff. So I want you to write down, I would say let's keep it simple because I'm all about simple. Let's write down your top 3 stories you tell yourself just around success. It doesn't even have to be direct to money, but like success, abundance, getting the things you want. Now, some of you will know them right away because you've done some work on this already, or you're just really self-aware. Others of you might get kind of stumped, like, well, I'm not sure what mine are. So now I've planted the seed. As you go about your day or about your week, believe me, they'll come out of your mouth or they'll come up in your mind. And then I want you to immediately like type them in the notes app of your phone or jot them down. Always carry with you like a little notebook. You can get them in the US. We have 99-cent stores. You can get, and they're actually open right now, but you can get little notebooks, or you can make your own with plain paper, but always have a notebook or something handy if you don't want to use a notes app on your phone, because then you'll end up forgetting. I keep saying that because I want you guys to realize we tell ourselves that fun lie, right? Oh, I'll remember that. Like, that's important. That's profound. And then it's lost forever. Now, if you're still stuck on what those are, ask someone close to you. And it needs to be someone who's not afraid of like potentially upsetting you. It can't be a people pleaser friend of yours, or if your spouse is a people pleaser, that won't work. Ask someone close to you. Just say like, what are some of the things that routinely come out of my mouth around like getting more money or success or achieving my goals? Now, some of you might be so clammed shut when it comes to talking about success or money, because that's another way to protect yourself is by not sharing. You might have not shared any of this with anybody, but I know you know your damn stories. You just need to look at it. So what we don't acknowledge, we can't change. So this is really important. Don't blow this off and write them down. So now you have your 3. The next thing I did after uncovering what those were, now for me, I couldn't uncover them completely on my own, and I knew that. My mind is very cunning and baffling and tricky. My ego was in so much self-will that I knew I was going to need help getting those out. So I made sure, and I worked with, at that time, they're referred to as like a spiritual coach, right? Spiritual guru. They didn't use the word coach then, but as a spiritual coach, I worked with him privately for 8 years. And he helped me. I probably could have gotten my first couple big stories. I knew what they were, but like those ones that are in my subconscious, those I needed help with. So I just wanted to put that out there as a disclaimer that, you can always book a 90-minute private session with me, and we can work specifically on removing these money blocks and developing your millionaire mindset and shifting that over. Just so you know, because I added more dates and times given everything going on in the world and the economy. So I do have more slots open there, and you can just go to my website under Work With Me. So it's ProjectMeWithTiffany.com, ProjectMeWithTiffany.com, and then just click on the top menu, Work With Me, and you'll see my 90-minute session there. And I do this work obviously also with my 2-month private coaching as well. So now that you have those main core driving beliefs, those things you repeat all the time, you have those written down. Now I want you to create mantras but they have to be believable mantras. So I call them fact-based mantras, not fantasy mantras. Here's what I mean. So let's say here, let me think of a belief that I hear so many of you say. I know I hear a lot about energy. Like, I don't have the energy or time to do what it takes in order to build the business of my dreams. I don't have it. So why bother even starting? I hear that all the time, different versions of that. So you using a fantasy mantra like, I have an abundance of time available to me whenever I want. Your ego is not going to buy into that. Your brain is going to go, that's bullshit, because your story you've been telling yourself has been so embedded, and you've actually created a self-fulfilling prophecy and actually created your own evidence, supporting evidence of it, by jam-packing your schedule, by being a task monster, by being, busy Betty, that it's not going to allow even a crack in that door. So that's a fantasy mantra. A fact-based mantra, because all know I'm all about #facts. A facts-based mantra would be something like, I allow room in my life right now for more time, ease, and flow. I allow room in my life right now for more time, ease, and flow, or I welcome more time, ease, and flow into my life right now. Okay? You see the difference? So your brain can go, you're allowing it. You're not saying, I have it. You're saying, I'm allowing it. I'm making room to allow it. It's kind of like if you have, if you're at a buffet and you have a plate and you really want to add that damn mac and cheese on your plate and you really don't want to have to walk back to the buffet, you're going to move some shit around on your plate to make room for the mac and cheese. So you can allow room for anything in your life, right? You're just allowing. That was a very weird analogy, but that's fine. We can tell that I'm hungry. By the way, will buffets ever come back? And I know there's strong opinions on buffets. People either love a solid buffet or they think it's nasty. I'm all about like a luxury buffet, but I'm all about like a legit, beautiful luxury buffet. Like, I'm all about that life. Like, I'm a big fan of it. Curious. Who loves buffets? Who doesn't? Take a screenshot of this episode, share it on social media, tag me at ProjectME with Tiffany, show me you're loving it, and then tell me if you're pro buffet or anti buffet. All right. So now you're making a fact-based mantra for each of those three things. I need you to take those three mantras, and that needs to be written on a Post-it note, or you can write with a dry erase marker right on your bathroom mirror. But I need you to have it in multiple places where you're going to see it inside your wallet, inside your makeup drawer, in the dash of your car. And every single morning, I need you to commit to reciting those three mantras at least 5 times, and not in some like hurried way. I need you, when you're saying them, to actually get into believe what you're saying. Believe what you're saying. Like, yes, I am allowing right now more room in my life for time, ease, and flow, right? I am allowing that. Like, versus, I am kind of allowing it, right? I need you to really have a strong conviction, strong conviction about that. I do mine. I sometimes do mine upon waking when I'm lying in bed, and I do it right there. But I find that I don't really get into the fire of it, into the facts of it, like where I really feel and believe it, like that empowering feeling around my mantras. I need to be in motion. So I walk around my backyard, I walk laps around my pool, and I say it. You can pace in your house. I'm a big pacer. I mean, there should be grooves seriously worn in my floor from all my pacing. So maybe it's pacing. So you need to kind of experiment what works best for you and get you in the feelings of it. It could be you being in total stillness, and in a, meditative pose. So it's whatever is going to get you in that feeling. Then the next thing is crucial. I need you to surround yourself with supporting evidence. So you're going to not only surround yourself with supporting evidence, you're going to seek supporting evidence. You've been seeking and surrounding yourself with supporting evidence for your scarcity thoughts, your limiting thoughts for most of your entire life. So now I need you to be doing that for these new mantras that you created. So when you're surrounding yourself by supporting evidence, what I mean by that is listening to podcasts like this one, reading books that support this evidence that you do now have time for ease and flow in your life. The people you follow on social media, I want you to follow people who are living the life that you desire to meet, where they have the energy of ease and flow and they're successful. You might not, know what their bank account looks like, but you believe them and it seems authentic to you. I want you to surround yourself again by having your mantras written everywhere. I love daily readers. So, those perpetual calendars you can buy. I know Hay House, Louise Hay's publishing company. You can get a lot of them on there. I know that the girl, I think her name's Jen. I can't remember her last name. It's like Cicero or something like that. She has You're a Badass at Making Money. I know she has a perpetual calendar. So that's another way that you can, further surround yourself by evidence, words, visuals, in all ways, and people. So if right now you're the most successful person among your friends, that's okay. I'm not someone who's like, oh, you need to get all new friends, but I just want to challenge you into getting a mentor, a coach, having some people who you aspire and you look up to. I used to be the person who was the most successful around most of my friends, and I wasn't aware of it, but I can tell you it was one tricky way my ego made me feel safe and kept me playing small, because it was like, well, God, I look like I really have my shit together when I'm around a lot of people who kind of don't. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, I wasn't cognizant of this. Thankfully, my spiritual coach was blunt enough, and we worked through that, and it was really interesting, and it was a very tricky way our egos can make us feel safe. So I want you to think about that. I've seen people do this a lot with their weight. If they're heavier and they do want to get healthy, but then everyone around them is heavier than them or unhealthier than them, then they can kind of tell themselves a lie. They're really not that bad because they're not as unhealthy as this person. It happens the same when it comes to money, success, work ethic, going after your dreams, all that stuff. Now, when I talk about supporting evidence, we have to make those like neuroreceptors, those pathways in your brain, take those mantras, those new mantras, the fact-based mantras that you believe, that you keep repeating so much so that you have them memorized. So mine are memorized, but you can, mine change maybe once a year. I change mine. Some of them stick around for a couple years, depending on what I'm working on. So you're going to end up memorizing those. You're going to surround yourself with supporting evidence that what you're saying in your mantras is possible for you and is true, versus looking for ways and reasons why it's not going to happen. It's not possible. It's all hocus pocus bullshit. And I want you to train that muscle in your brain. It's like a rubber band or like a hair tie. Let's use a hair tie analogy, because I just had this happen yesterday in the pool, where you keep stretching and using a hair tie, and after a while it gets so loose. It's like, okay, now this hair tie goes into the hair tie graveyard. So you are stretching and stretching and stretching this supporting evidence muscle. So I want you to challenge yourself to keep looking for evidence on why the very things that you want to obtain are possible and can be true for you. So every time you start latching on to evidence that it's not possible, I want you to say, okay, I see that, but now I need to match it one for one. Now I need to find something to show it is possible. This is how you realistically retrain those pathways into creating that supporting evidence and surrounding yourself with that supporting evidence. I hope you guys love this exercise. I'm excited for you to do it. There's a catch to everything. You know, I always tell you the catch. And the catch to going from a scarcity mindset into a millionaire mindset is discipline. So you have to discipline your brain to do these things for it to work. But last time I checked, it's worth it because I'm evidence of it being worth it. Any questions you guys have, feel free to DM me on Instagram at ProjectME with Tiffany. I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions to this episode. And if you don't already have it, I have a financial freedom guide that'd be great supporting evidence for you. It's totally free. And you can go to projectmewithtiffany.com/welcome gift. projectmewithtiffany.com/welcome gift and get this free printable PDF as another piece of supporting evidence to support your new millionaire mindset. All right, wishing you guys great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. If you enjoyed this podcast, please write a 5-star review on iTunes. Not only will this make me super happy, but it will allow more listeners to find our special show. Simply help me help others.